I am Comics Explained, and these are the other guys. So,
we have names, damn it.
we have names. So we've got Sal with Comic Pop. We have Joel with his thing.
I'm Cape Joel.
I'm kidding. We got Joel. We've got Joel with Cape Joel, and we have Legolas from Lord of the Rings.
Thank you, Legolas, for taking some time from fighting, orcs,
and using your awesome skill with arrows and stuff. And shooting and stuff, and
we didn't think we could get Orlando Bloom for the show, but he was really nice and came and did the show with us.
Oh man,
I want to go with this joke, but my voice gives it away so badly. I am not Orlando Bloom.
No.
What was it like being a pirate?
some Pirates of the Caribbean action going on.
Yeah, that was the one good movie you did.
So we have topics. Joel, what are the topics for today?
Well, I figured as it's kind of become a theme for us over the last little bit, we might start off the show by talking about the all-new, all-different Marvel #1s that we read. There was another new batch of them out this week. Some good ones, some ones that I didn't read myself. I figured between us, we could
probably cover some.
Excuse me. Get some good ones in there. I'll start off with an unexpected one. And it's one that I didn't expect to like as much as I did. I thought it was going to be garbage, but I ended up kind of thinking it was kind of cool. I don't know if it'll maintain, but that was Carnage #1 from Jerry Conway.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who was surprised by that, because I didn't think he'd be able to hold his own title.
No, what the interesting thing is, it's called Carnage #1, but it's as much about the people hunting Carnage as it's actually about Carnage. Sadly, the events of Axis have been wiped away. He's back to being a crazy serial killer. He's not back to being, a hero who is trying to fight murderous impulses, which honestly, I thought that was pretty interesting in that miniseries they did. I would have liked to have seen that continue just a bit.
They should have just called it Carnage Lethal Protector.
Well,
just to bring up that name.
That was a cool thing, if you went back and read the, I think it was Contest of Champions, the preview for All-New, All-Different Marvel. And they had talked about Carnage with his return to All-New, All-Different Marvel. And they depicted him as a crazy person, as a serial killer. And I like that Cletus Cassidy crazy person, serial killer element of Carnage. I like the insane human being Carnage.
Yes.
And that's what made him so cool. Because, Maxwell Carnage always, to me, will be the definitive Carnage story.
They could never have gone anywhere else.
No way.
They did, and it was amazing because with Carnage, it was creation of Carnage. They did Venom teams up with Spider-Man, which was like, oh my god,
mind blow.
That was crazy.
And that was amazing, and it was like 3 parts, and then they were like, okay, how about a 14-part epic that takes the left side of the KFC menu of Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery and then just crams them into this story.
Into a famous bowl.
Yeah, you could never go anywhere but down.
And indeed, they did for a long, long time. Some people like Carnage USA, some people like some of the other Carnage bits. I thought he was fun in Axis when he's saying, when I die, Spider-Man, I want a giant golden statue with rhinestones to play Freebird 24 hours a day in the liberal center of New York.
I was like, what is this? He's never been portrayed as a, gut bucket, Leonard Skinner listening, CCR playing redneck. He's just a jerk who happened to also be Southern.
Well, that was my thing about the Carnage character, and that's what I love so much about him was he was literally the Vanilla Ice of comics. He burst onto the scene, ice baby, and then
Suge Knight hung him out a window.
Yeah.
Legitimately, the next appearance for him was some Spider-Man annual where it was just Spidey versus Carnage, and I'm like, the character used to warrant a 14-part story. It was defeated in one issue. That kind of nerfs the character a little bit.
Yeah, that's
the thing about this new #1. Oh, I could go. Okay, I was gonna let you finish.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say the interesting thing about this new #1 is that again, it's a Carnage book, but it's not all about Carnage. They brought in J. Jonah Jameson's son, who is now leading this shady military task force to try and capture Carnage, which we've seen many times before. The government's tried to capture Carnage for whatever reason. But they have an ace in the hole, and that is because Flash Thompson just kind of screwed off to space. They're without their agent Venom. So they've now more or less shanghaied Eddie Brock Toxin, you're going to be our symbiote weapon now.
Does he have any weapon anymore? Is he still anti-Venom, or is that over?
No, he's Toxin now.
What? He's Toxin now?
He's been Toxin since the early run on Agent Venom that he had lost it. And then he became right into Jesus for a little bit, and
Well, I remember that.
I love that when he was killing people for Jesus for a little bit. And then he got the toxin symbiote because like Crime Master manipulated him, and then he fought Agent Venom for a bit. Then he's like, well, I'm gonna go whatever now. Eddie Brock away.
Yeah. Eddie Brock back into the gutters.
But he's back now, and he's just like, well, let me off the leash, boss. Let me off the leash so I can fight him. And they're like, no, Brock, stand down. It's like, no, come on, I can do it. Let me do it.
Don't they portray him as like a jock douche?
Yes, they did, actually. He even has like a blonde crew cut now. He's back to being blonde again.
That's good. That's what he used to be. He used to be just this roided out douche nozzle.
He's basically back to that. Conway is writing it like he would have written it back in the day, I imagine.
Well, he was. I mean, he used to. The dude is Jerry Conway is such a long-standing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah.
Writer.
He's the one that killed Gwen Stacy back in the day.
Yes,
He's
he
the
did.
guy who brought Gwen Stacy back. He's been around since he's been writing Spider-Man since like 1970 friggin' 4, and so he's writing
Created
about
the Punisher for crying out
Well,
loud.
that
Created the Punisher, exactly.
That was a cool. Like, if you go back and look at it too, that's one of the cool things. Like him, Lin Wein, like a couple other people were like, you know what? Let's write for like Marvel and DC.
Yeah,
Like,
screw it. Why not?
Screw it. Let's just do both.
Let's double dip that
Let's
chip.
double dip.
Yeah, why not? Right? I would if like DC was like, hey man, you got to write this. You got to write the 39th Batman title. I'd be like, okay, I'm in. And the Marvel's like, but you have to write the all different Spider-Man. I'd be like, okay. And they're like, you could do both. I will do both.
Yeah, but don't forget, that's when Marvel and DC started coming up with this thing called exclusivity contracts.
Right?
Where they couldn't even write their own stuff.
Yeah. Ugh.
I mean, that's what kind of sucks. Because all right, I sent this out on Twitter the other day, and I was like, you know what I want to see? I want to see a Jonathan Hickman Batman story.
Ooh, that'd be
Like,
fun.
dude, it would be, or like a Jeff Johns like Avengers story.
I want to see a Jason Aaron like anything DC story, but that ain't gonna
yeah.
happen. But
Yeah.
What I want to see at the moment is this Avengers X-Men versus Inhuman storyline that they're trying to do, but if it was written by Grant Morrison, because it's so Grant Morrison,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is.
got nothing to do with him, and he would be better at it than people that are doing
Yeah,
it.
but it'd
just
be.
gotta write Wonder Woman Earth 1 that's only now coming out.
Finally coming out. Finally getting Wonder Woman Earth 1.
And get me started.
But see, it'd be weird if it were like Grant Morrison. Like, it'd be something along the lines of like, well, see, there's been like this inhuman deity the entire time.
Of course.
That's just existed out there, and
Yep.
like this X-Men deity, and like they're at war, and now they're like pitting their
Oh,
subjects
he would just
against
pick,
each other.
no,
It'd
he'd
be
bring the
weird.
Phoenix back. He'd be like, no, Phoenix versus the Inhuman God. And
You see, the
Phoenix
Inhumans
is
aren't
basically
even-
the X-Men God. Like,
And everyone would be having a psychic affair with Emma Frost
Of course.
against Jean
Yeah.
Grey.
oh my God. And she would be like, literally, like Scott would wander into the psychic plane, and she'd be surrounded by men, and she'd be like, what?
You did this too, dude. Like, don't think I forgot. Like,
Oh,
remember,
but that'd be,
like, new
but that'd
X-Men
be
back in
creepy
the day?
because it would be the young Jean Grey now because the old Jean Grey is gone. It would be the newer, younger Jean Grey.
That
Oh,
is
no,
That's it.
true.
Oh my God. No, Cyclops wanders into the psychic plane, and it's Emma Frost and young Jean Grey.
Oh.
He's
And
like,
then
no!
And then old Jean Grey just wanders in and is like, Scott, what are you doing? And that's her return.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
She's
a
in the
fantasy. I can be wherever I want to be. The other big new Marvel book that came out this week was All-New, All-Different Marvel, Avengers #1 from Mark Waid. And already they're setting it up to be the total antithesis from the Hickman run. It's conversational.
Oh, yeah.
It's laid back. It's easy going, you know?
That's my
I loved
kind of
it.
Avengers title. I like those Avengers. That's
Yeah.
my Bendis Avengers.
Yeah.
I like that it's an Avengers title that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Not
and
at all.
I genuinely feel like whatever they're going to go up against isn't going to be like this world-shattering, changing thing. It's just
No,
going
it
to be...
shouldn't
They're fighting Warbringer in the first issue. A
He
new
sucks.
Nova villain who Nova Sam Alexander threw into the sun. And
Yeah.
he's mad now. He's like, I'm going to take my vengeance out on Earth.
And don't forget, Mark Waid said he kind of wanted to elicit an old school Teen Titans, like Marv Wolfman era kind of feel for the Avengers.
Really
Where
felt
it's
that
all about
back.
the interpersonal relationships. And I thought that was a great idea, and it's a fun issue. It didn't blow my mind. Like, I wasn't like, oh, this is what all I've been looking for. But I had a good time reading it, and I liked the art.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm in.
Well, that's what I was shooting for. Was like, especially when you count like the last we saw of the Avengers title, it was Hickman like, oh my God, there's something happening here and over there and over there, and then there's the multiverse. and-
it was like chapter 16.5 of his
Yeah.
epic non-stop.
And eventually it was all the Avengers books. You just couldn't read anything because it was all leading up to his big crazy event.
Exactly.
And that was it. Like, I mean, you're right. They're literally. I mean, you could read Last Days if you wanted to, but nobody cared about the last days of like a character. They were just like, okay, like one, who is it that caused the collapse of the multiverse? And then when we found that out, it's like, okay, who are the Beyonders? And then when we found that out, Secret Wars. And so it was like, okay, like
yeah, there was no, yeah, no, exactly.
So.
What I like about this book too is, unlike all the other Avengers books that start with the team fully formed, we were actually seeing this new Avengers team be formed before our very eyes. We get Sam Wilson and Tony hanging out and saying, man, we should totally start another Avengers team, man. Yeah, I think we should do that too. Then you get a backup with Kamala Khan and Sam Alexander.
That was fun.
That was funny because they keep trying to impress each other, but they keep freaking the other one out. And Sam jumps the gun by taking off his helmet and going, hi, my name's Sam. You got to tell me who you are now. And Kamala's like, no.
Yeah.
No, buddy. No, you jumped the gun.
It was it made me so uncomfortable. But it was supposed to, so I'm like, oh, success. Way to go.
I just love how they're kind of exploring how Kamala is a groupie that somehow wound up on this team. And she's just like, how am I here? And
I like that.
Yeah.
And Sam is much the same, too. Like, she already thinking, like, dude, Nova, he's so amazing, he's so cool. But Nova's thinking, oh, it's Miss Marvel, she's so cool and so new, I got to impress her somehow.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
And then they both wind up just hating each other.
I'm curious, like, what are your all's thoughts on Sam Alexander?
I think he's a fun character. I like his book.
Yeah,
I think it's going in a good direction. I'm interested in what Sean Ryan will do. Sean Ryan was the guy who, in my mind, turned around Suicide Squad at DC before they booted him off. And now he's on this book. It's not something I keep up with every week, but I do love the trades. Reads really good in trade.
Yeah. I've never been a Nova fan, like, of either of them, Dick Ryder or Sam Alexander. So
Did you say Dick Ryder?
Yeah, it's Richard
Isn't
Ryder.
that his name?
Yeah.
I don't. What's so funny about that name? So anyway, but no, I like the. I always enjoyed. Like, I remember Richard Ryder being like the noob. So having Richard Ryder be the accomplished hero of Annihilation and then shuffled loose and then have Sam Alexander kind of crammed down our throats when Marvel was so certain that Sony wasn't going to play ball again, I was kind of like, all right, I get it. But I liked his role in certain events, and I liked how they played him, and I feel like they didn't really push it. Like, I feel like they didn't push... I don't feel nearly as put upon with Sam Alexander as I do with the Inhumans, so I'm kind of like, I'm willing to give him a shot. And I hear the creators who are working on him like the character and want to do something interesting and fresh with him.
Sure.
So I'm happy to see that. So I'm
no,
willing to give him a shot. I'm always willing to give him a shot.
And then there's the added layer that his name is Sam because that was the name of Jeff Loeb's son, who passed
which is
away.
Like, I get it. I get it, Jeff. That sucks. Like, but damn, dude. Like,
it's kind of cool that the character can live on and be like a memorial to his son and everything. But at the same time, you're afraid to, like, you got to pull your punches with the character. It's like, oh, he's a living embodiment of this guy.
Exactly. I can't. Yeah. I do hate him on Ultimate Spider-Man though. The cartoon.
Well, that show just sucks, though.
Yeah,
everyone in that show is insufferable.
Oh, dude, Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, people were tweeting me like, "Hey, Rob, you should really watch Ultimate Spider-Man." And so I sat down and watched it, and I was like, "Nope."
Yeah.
How about you bring Spectacular back? How about you bring that show back?
Oh, dude, like freaking Ultimate Spider-Man is garbage. Like, it's
I'm sure
so
Benny was
bad.
here.
Well,
I'm sure Benny was here. I was talking with him about Benny likes Ultimate Spider-Man, so don't think we all hate it. Benny likes it. He's just not
Benny
here.
likes everything. If all of us hate anything, Benny will like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway,
We're the worst.
we're the worst. All right. So what other titles? Do we have coming out, or did we have coming out this week?
This week we got Miss Marvel #1.
That comes out this week in Thor. But I was talking about like from the week that was.
Yeah,
that
last week.
Illuminati #1 came out this week, and man, a story like this is just Joel cracked right here. A story about D-list villains trying to make a go of it in the world, and they're trying to equate it to being like an ex-con, trying to get your life back together and everything. This feels like it was written solely for me. Like, I love the Secret Six, I love Superior Foes, I love all these like D-list books, so I was totally in love with this.
Yeah.
Well, see, I didn't read Illuminati, so I have no idea.
It's a lot of fun. Titania, of all characters, is the like POV character, and she's visiting her husband Crusher Creel in jail, and she's like, look, when you get out, we're going straight, right? We're going to get regular jobs, we're going to move to the suburbs, no more getting beaten up by Avengers. And of all people, she passes She-Hulk on the street, and She-Hulk's just like, "Hey, keeping your nose clean." She's being like an overzealous cop almost.
Yeah.
And she runs down like a real world ex-con store where it's like, well, you can't get a place to live, and no one will hire you. And when they do hire you, everyone knows what you did, so you just fall back into the life, man. And then the Hood of all people finds her and says, "Hey, I'm putting together a crew. We're gonna go rob Asgard. It's me and Black Ant and Mad Thinker and Thunderballer from the Wrecking Crew. It's a great team."
I guess, man. Like, I mean,
That's a solid idea.
I mean, you're like Crusher Creel, really? The Absorbing Man?
Yes.
The guy that just like touches stuff and becomes that material? Like,
Because he's too dumb to remember what it is.
Foe.
I mean, oh yeah, he's a formidable. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's a formidable foe. Like Crusher Creel was a. I mean, he touches anything and becomes that material.
Like Uru Metal, for example.
Like Thor's hammer.
Except then Thor can control him.
Just pick up a Absorbing Man, just start swinging him around at people.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, here's a question: If the Absorbing Man could absorb Thor's hammer, like the material that makes up Thor's hammer,
Yeah.
does the enchantment still apply? And if it does, can he pick up? Like, can he stand up?
Right.
Like,
Is he
like,
worthy to
move?
lift himself?
Is he worthy to lift himself? That's some Grant Morrison shit right there.
That'd be horrible
think
if he had to go to the bathroom, but he's unworthy.
Because I think he'd be
about it.
touching Thor's hammer, but he'd also be touching the ground. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's a
Why does he
question.
not
If-
take on like the shoes that he wears? Why does he not take on like the characteristics of like shoes
Yeah.
or pants? You know?
Just be like a giant set of Nike Shocks.
oh god.
So what else we got?
Yeah. What else came out this week? A lot came out this week.
I think did all different Wolverine come out last week?
Yes. It came out this week. It came out this week.
That's right. I dug it a lot. I thought it was very
I
nice.
did. Her costume looks great.
I mean, it's just Wolverine's costume on a girl, and I think that works out.
Absolutely.
I think that's so good though, because like they could try and do like a female Wolverine costume, but
Yes.
she's saying she is Wolverine. Like she's not girl Wolverine. She's not Wolverine Lena. She's she's Wolverine, and there seems to be excited about it.
Yeah.
Tom Taylor did a really good job in that book. He did more with the Angel-Laura relationship than Bendis ever did
Oh yeah.
in his run in just one issue. I'm like, man, they're a cool tag team. They work well together. They bring up more stuff about the clones. We actually technically get to see Logan for a minute in a really fun dream sequence. Man, Taylor's a cool writer. I hope this book lasts for a long time.
I agree. I dug it as well. You'll see an episode of Off the Rack tomorrow about it, and it's just a fun book. I just like. I never thought that Wolverine was the kind of thing that like it's a title, like that it's bestowed. But that said, it's kind of not, because she like Faust said, like she is Wolverine, and not just like she embodies him. Like she's literally his genetic material with a different chromosome. Like she's just Wolverine, and I think that really works out. Like it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Fun book.
Well-
They're doing more stuff with the clone angle, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Well,
I loved how it's sort of focus. Sorry for interrupting you just then, Rob.
no,
I
it's
love how
fine. It's fine, Faust.
How UK of you?
I
It's
love how
okay. I don't mind.
I say sorry, and this is what I get. Like, people are seeing this, right? No, I love how they're kind of focusing on emotions and interactions amongst characters, and it's not just Wolverine. Yeah, we got to do a fight on every single page of the book.
Right.
Like, because so many people do that. I'm just like, no, that's not Wolverine.
Yeah.
Well, something that I also thought was really cool from the all new, all different Wolverine story was like the dream sequence.
Yeah,
or, like,
that was
afterlife
fun.
sequence that she had with Wolverine, and that I thought was solid because it was like this like I don't really know, like a rite of passage kind of thing, so much as it is like Wolverine's officially passing the mantle on to her.
Yeah,
And
it's a torch
that's-
passing moment.
Exactly, a torch passing moment, and that's what needed to happen, I think, because I think like Wolverine dying and then X-23 suddenly popping up and calling her Wolverine, like a bridge had to be made somewhere, like somebody something had to happen to where Marvel was like, Wolverine gives his blessing, whatever, because the 10 hardcore Wolverine fans out there would have been like,
there are many.
There's a lot. They would have been like, no, like, this needs to be correct. Something needs to happen. And so I think it was a really good moment. I mean, one, it was Marvel saying like that Wolverine's never coming back. It was It was the Phoenix End song Greg Pak moment when Jean Grey finally says goodbye to Scott Summers and leaves forever. Like that's what that was. It was Wolverine like I'm never coming back. Like I'm gone forever.
You're gonna have Old Man Logan though. Old Man
yeah,
Logan
but I mean like that.
Cool.
Yeah, like that main version of like the Wolverine that we've known for 40 years or whatever it is. Like he's like I'm not coming back anymore. And so
I mean, he's not coming back.
Yes.
Well, that's
Well,
people said the same thing about Jean Grey though. Oh, Jean Grey's way too popular for Marvel to kill off and and she hasn't come back
she's
since.
been dead for a lot longer
she
than I would have
technically-
expected.
Yeah, she's been dead
Yeah.
for
Technically is back. She's just younger though and a time traveler. So I mean,
To be fair, we're expecting Professor Xavier back like any moment now.
Yeah, but he's
Anything.
died he's died like 5 times.
He's been dead. And I feel like Professor X is doing more being dead. He's like Jean Grey, where it's like he's being more effective being dead and being a symbol than being alive and actually doing
that
stuff.
is until he ends up being the grand villain behind X-Men
my
versus
God.
Inhumans.
Oh, dude.
I faked my death to pull the strings upon this. It was me all along.
I am the mists.
I am the mist.
Or
I mean-
I am X-Haven, or I've been on X-Haven this whole time.
And see, and that sounds
no,
like a
that's-
Marvel thing. Like
No,
that's
they'll totally do that. There'll be a little boy who doesn't remember his name or something, and it'll actually be Professor X put his consciousness into this kid on X-Haven, and he'll be like,
That's
"Yeah,
exactly
it's me,
what
and I'm
it's-
young, and I'm gonna
Kid
like I
can
remember
happen it.
everything."
That's
I can
exactly it,
walk.
man. That's exactly what it sounds like. Is I mean, I could see that happening too. Like, some kid like stumbles into Cyclops. Like, oh hey, and then like it's got this huge splash page at the end where like the kid's walking away and it shows like a giant image of Charles Xavier's head or something like that.
Yeah,
Let's not forget
This-
also Charles Xavier's time-traveling evil son who looks just like him also exists in this universe now. He's just a prisoner of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hopefully they bury all those characters super deep.
yeah.
So
I
they
mean-
can never get out.
I don't know. But either way, like there was also All-New Hawkeye that came out this week.
Yes. Like that one. Like that one a lot. Jeff Lemire is killing it, but this is also, despite calling it all new, all different, you really needed to read the run before to know what was going on here and
And
now.
failing you.
Yeah.
It's like this was just all new Hawkeye #6. I don't know why they just didn't let it be all new Hawkeye #6, even though this is one of the few books that makes reference to the 8-month time skip. So apparently something terrible happened between Clint and Kate, and they've just been sitting on it for 8 months, and only now does it come to a head.
That's what's driving me nuts about all this, is God. That 8-month gap thing. See, that's and it's super frustrating because people are asking me like what do you do? Like, how does this whole all new, all different Marvel like translate with Secret Wars? Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
The story's just
That
pick up.
series not over yet. Issue 7 just came out this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one.
See, what I'm enjoying about this all-new Hawkeye is the same thing that I enjoyed about the previous run of Hawkeye. Kate isn't being written like a sidekick. She's being written like Hawkeye.
Oh,
and
she's totally an equal.
Yeah, it's 2 equals, even though she's like, in Clint's eyes, she's like 12. Like, he says that.
In
I don't know.
fact, in this newest issue, she becomes more than an equal, because in this 25-year future, she just became Hawkeye, and Clint sat on his ass for 25 years.
Well, all right. So the other
Also,
one,
Mandarin showed up in this.
that's what I was gonna say. Like I didn't when I was going through and I was reading that, I wasn't sure if that was like 10 rings Mandarin. Like I have the 10 rings of power.
Yeah.
or if it was the other Mandarin.
He
Or
looked like the
some other version.
Technicolor Dreamcoat, because he had a white suit,
That
a bunch of
sounds like
lights
our
all
man.
over.
He looked like Jesus Mandarin. I will say that. Like it was weird seeing that. Now I don't know how that's because Mandarin was always an Iron Man villain, and I guess it's kind of a good throwback because Hawkeye first showed up in Iron Man.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it's kind of a good way to kind of a good tribute or something like that. But I don't really know where you go with a character that can literally control like everything.
You
with
shoot
his
an arrow
rings.
at him.
You shoot an arrow in his face.
Right.
You shoot it really hard.
Well, Legolas will be able to answer that. I mean, we know firsthand. You could just fire an arrow right into them.
Remember that time you fired like 3 arrows, then you jumped up all the stones as they were
Oh,
falling, and then you did
that
all
was
the other
cool.
crazy stuff.
Remember when you killed that elephant and all the dudes
Yeah.
that were fighting the elephant, and then you rode down his trunk, and then you
Dude.
were like,
like the Flintstones? It was
You
great.
killed an elephant, dude. Like I saw you kill an elephant, and you kept track of the number of people you were killing too.
Yeah, that's
Which
what
is
happened.
crazy,
Doing
like-
complicated math, while also assassinating like men from the east.
Yeah, it was.
All who threaten the world of men. I don't know.
I don't know. It was strange.
I got these three saying I'm Legolas. I got the chat saying Faust, talk like Thor. Like, really?
Oh yeah. People
Verily.
like all new, all different Faust. Like Faust is joining the Thor Corps.
If thou art worthy,
Oh,
you know,
man.
you can wield the hammer of Faust.
We did.
Yeah.
We didn't get a Faust Thor in Secret Wars #7 though. That's too bad.
Okay, so let's talk about Secret Wars #7. Because
Yeah,
that's
this was-
sounds like I really want to talk about Secret Wars #7.
Oh no, I was just
So-
saying. Like I want to see like a Faust.
Maestro's helicarrier made of skulls is the
Oh,
most metal
man.
thing ever.
Okay, can we
Dude.
just say
Oh
this is
my God.
probably the best issue since #1?
Dude, this issue was the tits.
Depending on what you like, this was definitely the penultimate action issue before they added another one.
Dude,
Right.
okay, like when I was making the video about it, I thought about like just casting aside the script and just being like, okay, guys, so this shit
sucks.
is amazing.
and then this happened.
Dude, it
Yeah.
was okay. Like from the time the battle first starts, when Sinister is like, you know what, like let's like turn against like Madeline Pryor and her goblins. And it's like they
Because I'm
turncoat.
sinister and it's what I
Dude,
do.
like the battle takes off, like dude, oh my god, that thing was so cool. You got everybody fighting everybody. Maestro is like, you've got a helicarrier of Hulks that show up. Like, oh,
Airdropping Hulks, an
Airdropping
airstrike.
That moment
Hulk.
for me, the moment where T'Challa's like, you don't understand. I'm the king of the dead.
I've been
and you're
saying
like,
Yeah.
it since the beginning
oh no, the dead.
dude, it was, oh my god, and that's what killed me too, because I didn't even think. See, I thought it was gonna be like Thanos, who was gonna like lead an army of the dead.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even think about that. But not only that, not only is he leading an army of the dead, like he told them like you can go through the siege courageous and start your lives over, like eliminate the zombie plague from yourselves.
Right.
Start your lives over. All you have to do is fight for me. And so like now, dude, he has an army of like who
Of
God only knows
zombies.
how many zombies.
It's that
Yeah.
moment in Lord of the
And they're
Rings.
superpowered zombies. Like, yeah.
It's gonna be that moment in Lord of the Rings. T'Challa's gonna jump off the boat, only instead of ghosts behind him, it's gonna be zombies.
Yo,
I'm
horde
glad,
of
dude, I'm
zombies.
glad I'm not the only one who thought that, because when I saw that scene, I was like, this reminds me a lot of when Aragorn was like, fight for me.
It's the ghost. It's
It's the
I am your
ghost.
king, T'Challa, and you will follow me.
God, dude.
Friggin'
Also,
amazing.
I love the bit with the Thors too, because the Thors tie-in, which also finished up this week, was one of my favorite ones. Jason Aaron wrote it like a cop story. It was great. We get Jane Foster Thor, the new 616 Thor, going to the Thor Corps and being like, God is a lie. Your lives are a lie. Come fight with me and let's go kick God's ass.
Dude, okay, when I was going through, like, I made it a point in my video, because when the Thor Corps attacks, like, Apocalypse takes them all on by himself.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
And
badass.
dude,
like,
I was going through, and I said in my video, I was like, I've been an Apocalypse fan for years, and this is the shit that I was waiting for.
Now, I'm guessing you guys didn't read the Thor's tie-in, so you actually missed an extra little caveat of that story that might be important in the future Jason Aaron run. So Ultimate Thor is in that fight, right? And he's smacking Apocalypse with his hammer. In the Thor's book, we get to see that battle from his point of view. And he says, I threw my hammer so hard and so fast, it will probably continue to go throughout the universe until I die. And it does, and it breaks on through to the post-Secret Wars world
Really?
and lands near Asgard. So now the ultimate hammer is in the main 616 universe.
Oh my god.
So that's their way out for should Odin's son want to pick that up. Because as we remember, the ultimate Thor hammer is not so picky about who wields it.
That's true. That's true.
So now unworthy Thor can have one, or maybe he'll switch with Jane, and then Jane can be a Thor too. Everyone can get a hammer. Everyone
Dude,
can
I'm,
get
dude, I'm glad you caught that, because I didn't even think about that.
You get a hammer.
You get a hammer. But no, dude, like as soon as I finished this issue, I was like, oh, because you could tell the way it ended that Marvel clearly cut this one in half. Like you can, because when they said like we had to cut issue 7 in half, make the second half issue number 8, and then bring you guys issue number 9, I was like, okay, this is obviously where they cut it in half, and that's like this stuff like this, guys. Like for those of you guys who are watching this, stuff like this is why I love Hickman, because it's like huge event causes things to happen, lull period, everything happens.
yeah.
Also,
Just like,
you
oh my
gotta
God.
like too that it's just a foregone conclusion at this point that Reed Richards will fight the final battle against Doctor Doom, even though the Fantastic Four have been buried, even though their movie is bombed, even the characters in the story know. Oh yeah, and then Reed Richards is gonna fight Doctor Doom.
Well, because
That's
Hickman's
gonna
like,
go.
well, yeah, because I've been setting this up for the last 6 years.
for the
Yeah.
very beginning, since
They're
my
gonna fight.
Fantastic Four run.
I don't care if your stupid Fox movie didn't make money or if you canceled the book. I'm leaving after this issue, and Richards
write
is
what I
fighting
want to
Doom.
Yeah. Dude, well,
with
that's
fate of the multiverse hanging in the balance.
Dude, that's a kicker because Hickman always does the stories in reverse, and so like from the time he first came up with the idea for Secret Wars, he was like Richards is fighting Doom. Now my prediction is Richards is going to die fighting Doom. Like Reed is going to lose
he hasn't
his life.
shown up in the main.
Well,
He hasn't shown up in the main
and
universe.
Sue have gone missing.
They said that
Yeah.
Richard and Sue and the kids are missing. I'm assuming that he'll fake his death and be
What?
like kids and family, like screw being a
Well,
superhero.
We know they're going to return, like, because
Oh.
of
Yeah.
stuff that was said in The Amazing Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's just keeping hold of the Baxter building
Which
until
I
they
love
return.
that in
That
a
was
meta
cool.
sense, where it's like, Johnny, I'm keeping care of your home until you come home.
Yes.
See, I got to come home,
Yes,
but you're not home yet.
Yes,
One
when
day.
when the powers that are in charge bring you back,
Well,
Once
see,
you find a
move
cure
back
for the
in.
Fox virus, you can come home.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe Jeff Loeb knows something that nobody else, or not Jeff Loeb, shit.
Dan Slott.
Dan Slott. Yeah, maybe Dan Slott knows something that
Probably.
nobody
I
else
mean,
knows.
he's-
But I don't. I mean, it's like to me, I think that'd be a moment better left just that way, where it's like when they come back, but they never do. Like that would be a really cool thing. Oh,
Well, I mean, they're going to, but it'll take a long time.
yeah,
So.
it'll take a while.
Like, maybe not even in our lifetime. Maybe we got to have another couple failed
No.
Fantastic Four reboots.
Oh,
Maybe our
more!
children.
In 100 years, they'll return.
I would just want them back in like 3 years because I don't care about any of them other than Sue, but I'll read bad Fantastic Four books just for Sue because I like her. I like her a lot.
It's
Yeah.
like Reed is like, okay, wife, okay, children, we defeated the evil and saved the universe. Now we shall ascend to a higher plane of existence. We will go to the place between spaces or whatever.
Yeah, we're
Well,
like the
maybe they'll
main.
go to a paradise dimension and
Yeah.
There you go.
we'll come out
For
of
some
this.
reason, you said the place between spaces, and I just imagined the entire Fantastic Four just waiting in an elevator for like a really long time.
I picked up that reference, by the way, Sal, and that's what I want to see. I want to see them get. I want to see Reed just be like, you know what, I'm tired of being here, and like shatter reality by punching his way
Yeah.
out.
This
Yeah,
paradise
screw this,
dimension
boosh.
sucks.
Oh,
Boom.
no.
See?
It's clobbering time.
it's reality clobbering time. We're gonna clobber reality.
Will be interesting where it's like, okay, so me, the wife, and the kids are going to the paradise dimension. Hey, Ben,
Yeah.
Johnny, you guys stay here though because you guys are still bankable, but you guys go off to other teams though.
Exactly.
Yeah. You guys don't matter. Like you guys aren't good enough to stay here.
Hey, Ben, you can go join the Guardians. Aren't they fun? Don't they have a good soundtrack? And hey, Johnny, you can be an Avenger and an Inhuman at the same time, honestly.
I guess. Whatever.
I
Hey,
love
you
that.
guys.
Don't they have a good soundtrack?
Don't they have a good soundtrack? He's
So-
like, oh, they do. They have a great soundtrack.
So I don't know if we talked about it. Did we talk about all new Deadpool last week?
Yeah, we
All New
did.
Walter- Oh,
Yes.
okay. I don't know.
I
if we did or not.
read that for various reasons. I've been reading lots of Deadpool.
Did you read
Actually,
Good,
I've-
the Bad, the Ugly?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm allowed to say that. No, I don't think I'm allowed to say.
You're not a
No, I
Deadpool fan?
I'm allowed to say that. Oh, wait, no, I am allowed to say. I basically went to Fox's office in London and they showed me movies. And because they showed me movies, I read Deadpool books.
Mm.
We,
If you can decipher this, code, if you have
Yes.
the breaker.
And I have to say, now that I've given him a chance, I can actually say I kind of like Deadpool more than I did before. And considering I hated him before.
It's an acquired taste. I was a lot like you, Faust, until I read the new Duggan Posehn run, and the only reason I picked it up was because I was such a Posehn fan, and I'm like, oh, they're writing him like he was Freakazoid. Okay, I like this now.
yeah.
Just weaponized irreverentness.
So the other title, like the last, well, not really the last one, but of like the number ones
Yeah.
that came out last week, last week was Ultimates.
Yeah, I actually didn't read that
Nice.
one.
Dude, Ultimates was good.
That's
And dude, in the
Tell us
first
why.
dude, in the first page, like Blue Marvel is like whatever it was that happened 8 months ago recreated the multiverse.
Oh, so he knows. He just straight up knows.
Yeah, well,
He's
well he
aware.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. Like he's like everybody else. Like they can't remember what it was that happened, but his speculation is like there's it's weird because it just kind of like picks up in the middle of things. But he's like whatever it was that happened that created our universe created the omniverse as well. Created like the entire multiverse as it exists. Recreated everything, and it's super
Oh,
cool.
see,
because-
that's actually good because that dovetails with Web Warriors, which was another one that came up, but I'll let you finish.
yeah, dude, Web Warriors is freaking weird. But
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
But no, like it's really cool because they're, as far as I could tell, they're actually living on Galactus's old World Eater ship.
Oh.
like Tatu or whatever it is. Not really living, but like they're using it as a base.
And that's
operation.
why
That's their
he's on the
base.
cover, why he's holding up the team.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's actually pretty solid. Like it's a pretty interesting book. I didn't get too far into it, but because I was in the middle of editing Luke Cage video. But nonetheless, like the premise of the book seems solid. Like for the most part, I mean they stick in space. They don't have anything to do with the planet Earth. Like they stay away from all that, and instead they just like stick around and deal with the entire like multiversal threats and all that kind of cool stuff.
That's
so
cool.
I'm liking what they're doing so far. The problem is the story literally just like ends with them coming toward like with him interacting with Galactus. It's actually Blue Marvel and Carol Danvers, and like they show up where Galactus is, and then it just ends. And so it's like okay,
Cliffhanger.
My
Yeah.
issue with because there's a lot of like revelations in that issue that like kind of lay the groundwork for the future of the multiverse of the Marvel universe and whatnot, like the new element that they discovered that couldn't exist until now and stuff like that. I feel like the writer of Ultimates is the only one who cares about what's happening in those things. And so if Marvel Editorial says like, no, we're not going to do that, then everything he's setting up is just going to be garbage. Like, I'm just worried that it's because it's not officially Marvel sanctioned. It's just this one writer who's been Trojan horsing it in every book he's writing. That, like, just because you say it doesn't make it so, man. Like, I'm sorry, but because I want to believe, I want to get in on this. Like, I want to get in on the ground floor and be like, this is cool because this explains every iteration of the Marvel universe. But if no one else agrees with you, then it's garbage. So
I think I would agree with you, Sal. Like, my biggest issue with everything that's kind of not Ultimates at the moment is just kind of like it's all good. It's like it's all fun, and you know there've been some hit and misses here and there, but for the most part, it's good. But there's nothing smart, if that makes sense.
No, I hear you.
There's nothing that really makes me go, oh wow, this has all the hidden messages in it. Like most people aren't gonna get this, but you know it's good because of that reason. There's just nothing like that, and that's my favorite type of comic. So I don't know.
Well, see, that's kind of the kicker with the Ultimates is like the way it ends. You know, when they go to see Galactus, it's not as though it's like, well, now we're gonna fight Galactus. Like, in fact, when they show up, Galactus is kind of like issuing this monologue, so to speak. You know, he's like,
As
well,
he does.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, as they're approaching his ship, you know, he was like, let's do what many have done before, something along those lines. Let's try to end Galactus. And they're like, no, that's not what we're here to do.
You're not supposed
like,
to kill Galactus. We all know that.
We all know that. Abraxas shows up and starts killing people. But no, like you know, Galactus is, you know, they're like, we're not here to kill Galactus. Like, we're not here to kill you. Like, we're here to solve the ultimate problems because we're the Ultimates. And so the indication seems to be that maybe they're going to like solve the hunger of Galactus, which would be pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be a cool idea.
But you still can't do that because Galactus is an elemental force that exists for the sole purpose of like eating the garbage in the multiverse.
But you just switch them to diet planets is the thing.
But
you know?
didn't
not
Skrull
just
go-
full sugar.
But I'm guessing none of you read the Unbeatable
The new
Squirrel
Squirrel
Girl
Girl book? No.
She solved the hunger of Galactus in her past run.
Oh yeah, what'd she do?
By killing him?
No, she showed him the wonder that is nuts and how nuts have protein and protein is life force. So he just has to eat protein.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a
Really
lot.
measure up. Really?
And that's how she beats Galactus. By
I
filling
like
him
it.
so full of nuts that he passes out.
that sounds more like carbs. Like, just eat a bunch of pasta and go into a carb coma.
I think you'll be fine. You'll be fine, Galactus. Speaking of weird interdimensional stuff in the new Marvel universe, it dovetails nicely into Web Warriors, which I won't dwell on too long because there's ultimately very little to talk about. I was championing these guys even when you guys were kind of like, I don't know, Spider-Verse. I don't know, Spider-Verse tying to Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, the shine is off now as of issue number 1. I'm sitting there reviewing it, and I'm just like, oh wow, you built an entire team out of 6 people with the same power. Okay.
Dude, Web Warrior.
that's
Okay,
right.
if I can be candid here, Web Warrior sucks. Like, I
There's
don't
just,
like it.
I don't even know if it sucks because I'm not reading the damn thing.
Dude,
I don't care.
it's a mess.
Like, like one of the things that's messy about it is I assumed, okay, so all these characters are together in like the Karn inheritor place, whatever. That's because they can't go back to their own universe, right? No. Only Billy Braddock can't go back to his own universe because it got destroyed during the incursions.
Yeah.
Everyone else is fine to just go back to their universes at night when they're done Spider-Verse and is the
Right,
thing.
what's the
and they're
point?
and they're free to jump wherever. And Spider-Gwen actually says something kind of interesting, which I feel will only ever really pay off in her own book. And that is, wow, out of all the universes we've seen, and we've seen so many, I'm dead in all of them except for my own. And I'm like, oh.
But then there's Gwenpool. So has she not met Gwenpool?
Right. I mentioned that in my review, but what about
I knew
Gwenpool?
somebody was going to bring that up. I knew somebody was going to say Gwenpool.
Gwenpool, awesome.
And then, it's like, well, who's the big threat that's going to challenge, the Web Warriors? Who's their first big villain they're going to fight? A bunch of displaced Electros from destroyed universes have united together and formed like the League of Electros, and there's like movie Electro and 60s Electro.
Well,
and I'm like, this was not a song.
See, they talked about that in like somebody did an interview, and they said like they're going to be facing Electro. And so my idea was, okay, maybe like a multiversal Electro, like some version of Electro that's managed to find a way to break into the multiverse, which would be cool.
Yeah.
No, it's a bunch of Electros. And so I was like, okay, like I'm never reading this comic again.
Well, they imply that it's like that they're like the harbingers of a multiversal Sinister Six, because they say they're stealing silver from all over the multiverse, and they're like, the Ox told us there weren't supposed to be any spiders in this universe, so implying that there's like a bunch of Ox out there as well.
Yeah.
But the thing that annoys me most about Web Warriors is, like, we had Multiversity very recently, which was a multiversal hopping book.
Yeah.
Use that as a template, then go with that, because Multiversity was critically acclaimed. So if it's this recent and people are proving that they like that, use that. Don't do this kind of pile of simple stuff, because multiverse concepts aren't a simple thing.
It's like
you just need to make it weird.
It's like, I enjoyed the Web Warriors when they were dealing with unique Spider-Man problems, where it's like, we're all being threatened by, a group that hates spiders and is hunting us across the multiverse. And even in their Secret Wars time, where it's like, Norman Osborn is trying to, weaponize the universe web, and he's trying to, find out the secrets of spider power or whatever, and the radioactive spider blood. Like, that was fine. But now that they don't have that anymore, now that there's like, we're out there policing universes that lost their Spider-Man because of the Inheritors, and I'm like, that sounds horrible for the space-time continuum. Actually, you really shouldn't be messing with other universes that aren't your own. That could cause a lot of problems, actually.
Yeah, like it could cause a multiversal collapse. Well,
Justice just said Marvel Sliders, and it immediately reminded me of Exiles.
Oh, God.
Which was a book that got real complicated real fast. It went from being like an amazing book to being canceled. And Web Warriors gives me that feel, but but like you guys said, like it's interchangeable characters with all the same powers.
Well, see,
except for Spider Noir, who shoots people.
Like that's the kicker. I feel like Spider-Gwen came along. Like when Spider-Gwen came along, and people were just like, wow, that's really cool. And people loved the idea, and they started reading it. And so Marvel was like, well, I mean, let's do Spider-Verse. So, when they launched Spider-Verse, you had Spider-Gwen coming out of that. And so Spider-Verse, became popular. And, they were like, well, I mean, Spider-Gwen's really popular. So let's, like, try. And I feel like.
And her book remains to be good and interesting.
Her book remains to be good. And that's why somebody asked why she's getting a push, because so many people liked her when she first showed up that they're literally just like pushing her to keep her popularity out there. But
and because she probably sells a lot of merchandise, because that hoodie is the coolest hoodie ever.
Dude.
And
it is a great.
They even make that joke in the first issue of Web Warriors. They're like, Gwen Stacy, Spider-Gwen, owner of the coolest hoodie ever.
Well, okay. Did you also catch the Spider-Man meme? In that comic?
Oh yeah, because they go on their training exercise in the '60s Spider-Man universe, because they're like, well, no one really gets hurt out here, and they do the classic, I'm just sitting here and everyone's doing blank.
There's Electro's going on back there, and all you're doing is what are you doing?
What are you doing? Well, see that's that, and but I feel like with Web Warriors, Marvel didn't know what to do. Like they had an idea, they wanted to have these spider characters, they want to continue them on into all new, all different Marvel, but they just didn't know what to do with it.
No.
And so they're like, I mean, I gotta be honest, as somebody who's already on the fringe about Spider-Man in the first place, that kind of needs to be like poked and prodded to go read a Spider-Man comic, the worst way to get me interested is to have a whole bunch of Spider-Man that I don't really care that much about fighting a villain that I care nothing about. And that's, I mean, and that's the problem is any character or any villain can be made spectacular when they're written the right way. Like, to me, the single greatest moment of Electro's entire history was when he, like, took power down to the raft.
Yeah.
in New
That was
Avengers.
pretty good.
Yeah, when
it's
he
shut
was a
down.
pawn.
Yeah, when he was a pawn, but
He
it
was
was
a pawn of Skrull Electra, yeah.
But
And
it
then
was
he
a
like did it
concept.
again in a Dan Slott, so it was like, man, I still get free drinks in the bad guy
That's
bar
right.
after doing that.
But you know, I mean, like, you know, with the whole Secret Wars thing and the Skrull Electra being like, hey, I need you to take down power to the raft and free all, like, it was a fact that, like, here is a guy that can control electricity and take down power to the single most advanced prison on the planet Earth that
It's
houses
like a no-brainer.
supervillains. No brainer,
But it
you know.
took them that long to come up with it. It's amazing.
Exactly, and it's such a simple premise, but it's such a cool idea. And they just never do that. They're like, well, let's have them fight a multiverse full of Electros. Why?
And is it weird too that Shocker is weirdly the more relatable and likable Spider-Man villain because he's such a lovable loser? Meanwhile, Electro's like, dude, you have power. You're just too dumb to know
Well,
what to do with it.
I think the reason why people like Shocker so much is because he was such a main villain in the Spider-Man cartoon.
Jim Cummings, man, Jim Cummings.
He was-
that-
he was a
blew my
mainstay
mind.
villain.
I was like, why is Winnie the Pooh the Shocker? How weird.
But like, you know, that was I think that's one of the reasons why he was such a big thing, is because back then he was like the big villain, you know,
and
one
because
of
his
the big
costume
villains.
is cool too.
And his costume is super cool, wearing fishnet. It looks like.
No, wait, Shocker was never cool.
No,
Shocker's
like
always been
hats.
a joke. Shocker was always like
No,
a
I thought
like
he
a
was cool.
punching. No, he was never cool.
I thought it
He
was
was
cool.
always okay. The costume looked cool, except that it was basically a Baron Zemo ripoff, like
just with yellow and orange.
just a bee-themed Baron Zemo, but like, and I mean like a buzz bee, not like a bee like list. I mean, but like, those Web Warriors, man, I don't care about those characters.
just
No,
Web
it's-
Warriors.
You know what I'd like
really-
to see? If when they decide to cancel, they should just have real Norman Osborn be like, screw all these stupid characters. I killed you.
No,
And-
you know when
And
they
he's back,
cancel it,
Norman
they're gonna.
Osborn and dressing like Hush.
No,
What?
you know when they cancel it, they're gonna have the Web Warrior, and it's gonna turn into a solo book.
Oh yeah, why not? And then, yeah, and then, well, it'll be like how Ant-Man became a backdoor continuation of Deadly Foes of Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
whoever's right, it'll just be like,
And I'm
yeah,
not upset about that by the
written
slightest.
Spider-Man. Huh?
I'm not upset about that by the slightest.
Oh no,
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
Nick
it's great.
Spencer is great. I think his Ant-Man book is awesome. I'm glad he's bringing in all these other D-list losers to work with Scott. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Machine Smith and Grizzly.
So we're giving it about 6 issues. 6 issues.
I would
Web
give
Warriors?
it like I would give Web Warriors double that because it's Spider-Man and because the covers are cool. It will probably do a little bit better.
I mean, like, I'm not very good at this anymore. I really expected like a lot of books to end around 11 issues. But,
I'm not good at liking comics anymore.
no, I'm not good at guessing when they're gonna get canceled because I really don't know. But I mean, like, my guess would be Web Warriors should last maybe 8 to 12 issues. They usually finish their run, like whatever story you're doing, like you have another issue to wrap it up. So I'd say probably 11 to 12 issues.
I could see.
Honestly,
I
you know,
can see
if they just wanted to give us like a Spider UK book or a Spider Punk book, I'd read that, or even a Spider-Man Noir book. I would happily read an
See,
ongoing about Spider-Man.
I would have to read Spider UK.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a bad thing.
you would have to. It'd be a tear. Like Faust is from the UK, and he won't even read Spider-Man UK.
It's for you though. See, it says here for Faust on the cover.
But no, like, I mean, I would read a Spider-Man Noir book, like a standalone book. I mean, like, you know,
it was
a-
great when they
it
made
was-
those books. They were really good.
Oh yeah, dude, the Marvel Noir books were amazing. Oh my god, like,
At least the first volume of Spider-Man Noir was amazing.
dude, I loved
mean,
X-Men. Like,
didn't
X-Men
read the
Noir
second-
was awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like, I mean, they were. Huh?
I didn't read that one, but
Oh, okay. There were some great Marvel Noir stories, but that's the kicker, man. You know, it feels like, you know, Marvel, or I guess Web Warriors is like the leftovers of the Spider team that Marvel just doesn't know what to do with, and they're just kind of there. And
Well, like-
Mayday Parker's in it though, so I know our friend Kamaguno is going to be super excited because he
This is
gets to
true.
read about Mayday Parker again.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it literally just feels like a chef was in, like a mom was in the kitchen, and like, well, I mean, I don't have like the things I need to make a meal, so I'm just going to take like a bunch of things and put them into a pot and see what happens.
and somehow it becomes one.
And somehow
Well,
it
like-
becomes.
People are talking, like, you're
Like
talking about
when-
like what can Marvel? Oh, so great.
I was just gonna make a joke of like when people go, "It's a casserole." Great, what's
Yeah.
in it? Casserole.
Spider UK.
And the Indian Spider-Man.
I mean, like, it's really not fun. I mean, I feel like Marvel doing like when you were saying like, well, what's Marvel gonna do with Spider-Verse? Nothing. You don't have to do it. Like, there's no prerequisite that says like, oh, well, Spider-Verse happens, so we have to do a spin-off book. Nobody asked for that. Like, I'm shocked as crap that anyone cares about this book or that they want to see it. And I feel like it's probably just those friggin' Mayday fans who are just like, buy 2 copies and keep it going.
Hey, you know what? Some people can't get enough Batman. Some people can't get enough Spider-Man, apparently.
Yeah.
I love Spider-Man. I've had my fill. I'm still waiting for the actual Miles Morales book to come out. When's that friggin' book coming out?
It wasn't supposed to be like in the next couple months. Like I know they talked about it in the back of All New, All Different Avengers, where it's like, and my book is coming soon.
Yeah, and one day.
I'm gonna be honest. I still, like, at the end of Superior Spider-Man, wasn't ready for Peter Parker to come back. Still not entirely ready for him to be around. So all this going on, for me, is just a bit like...
Oh, dude, I love Superior Spider-Man.
Oh, it's a great run.
Oh, dude,
really
I love, and I love that because Dr. Octopus made such a great Spider-Man.
Talking about that book and being positive about it was one of the things that put me on the map, actually, back in the day when I started the whole YouTube comic thing, talking about that series in particular. And it was funny to see opinions change on that book as time went on, from people just being furious to being like, okay, this is pretty good, to being like, okay, we like this now, to, oh no, I don't want Doc Ock to leave either.
I was so ready for, because Gage and Slaughter buddies, and he
Yeah.
wrote the Scarlet Spider book.
Yes, he
I
did.
was so ready for them to cancel Scarlet Spider, and then have Peter Parker come back, and then have the living brain download Doc Ock's consciousness into Kane, and then have Doc Ock basically be like, okay, you know what? The fact is, I couldn't be Spider-Man, or I couldn't hack it against the Green Goblin. But now that you're back, I can still try to be the superior Spider-Man.
I'll be the superior Scarlet Spider.
Well, and just just never cancel the book Superior Spider-Man.
That would have been fun.
Keep the book and have Doc Ock be like, I'm Spider-Man, and you know what? I'm gonna keep operating in New York and just like rub it in your face about how I'm better than you, because it's so is his character.
Well, you know,
They
he's
were
going
like,
to be
nah.
coming back eventually, because they've already dropped hints that, you know, the Doc
Oh
Ock
no, hints!
consciousness is
Full
alive.
page splash reveals,
I'm back!
and you're like, don't do that.
Also, Norman Osborn is back too, and dressing like Hush now, which I like, with the bandages. Very bandage chic.
Because he like changed his face.
Yeah, that was the whole twist at the end
That
of
was
Spirit.
so stupid.
Hey, I was around all the time, you just didn't know. Also, the fact that he's sane now, Norman Osborn, that they haven't touched on, that he cured him of his insanity at the end of
That's
it.
not a thing. If you live in the sewers and you want to destroy Spider-Man, you're still crazy.
You're still crazy. You can't fix that kind of crazy.
If you
with
think
syrup.
that you've cured insanity by taking some kind of goblin serum or whatever, you're still crazy.
To be fair, that it is kind of crazy. Like, yeah, I've cured insanity. By the way, I'm living in the sewers. It's
Yeah, exactly!
nice.
I'm
Yeah,
eating
great
rats.
view.
I'm making weapons for a third-rate Banana Republic who only want them because Parker Industries is supplying S.H.I.E.L.D. with stuff. I'm wearing green and, like, purple camouflage, which I'm like, they make that?
Right?
I like
make it in the sewers.
Where I live.
I like that comment. Like I've cured insanity. By the way, I'm living in the sewers.
Yeah, I mean, like, if there's ever been a red flag, this is it.
I like to dress up the rats in little suits.
And they're my goblin minions.
So
Who is he, Professor Chaos now? Yes, my minion.
So can I just
Yeah.
throw out there that like the the splash page at the end, or I guess the conclusion, the big drop reveal, whatever it was, at the end of like Uncanny Avengers #2 was amazing.
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
that was
Cable's back.
Cable's back, and apparently
Yeah.
he's still hunting Strife, like, which is
Yeah.
weird.
All this time
all
later.
this time he's still
Catch that
There's-
wily Stripe.
just couldn't catch that clone Strife, but he's still chasing after him. But apparently, like, I don't know. See, I'm really hoping they tie this into the whole like Rogue situation. But I guess there's some Inhuman Terrigen virus this compared, because it seems like an Inhuman counterpart to like the Legacy virus from the 90s.
The
whatever it is-
shredded man is turning people into weird plant hybrids.
Exactly, and like it's just like wreaked absolute havoc on the future. Like cities have been quarantined, most have been destroyed, you know. And Cable's like, well, we need to go back in time and fix what it was the Avengers screwed up. I could see this going like really, really well and being cool, or being disastrous.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what a
I'm
kick to
just-
the nards for your team in the second issue. People, well, I need to go back to a team in their second issue screwed up.
I'm just sad to see Rogue getting crapped on again.
I'm not.
Like, I just want 90s Rogue again. I don't want, like, let's make Rogue badass again. Let's stop her being.
What happened to my
dude.
sweet Southern belle?
you're not
she's
getting
not
that
gonna be
1990s.
that. It's so frustrating because that's the one everyone thinks of. Like that's the one
yeah.
everyone likes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
for some reason, Marvel's hell bent on being like, no, we need tortured, orphan Rogue who's just sad and she's an energy vampire. Like, no, how about
In the classic words of another business owner, you don't like what you think you like.
We know what you like. Like, we know that what you think you like is wrong. Like, you
That's right.
actually like this.
trust me?
Trust me.
From the company that would legitimately put customer surveys in their comics. What would you like to see happen in our comics? And then like yes, no, and right in here, same company is like, no, we know what you like, and here it is.
we've got like information from 15 years ago that tells us what you like right now.
Faust was trying to do a bit there. Let Faust do his bit there.
The bit's been done many, many times in like 10 of my videos as well.
It's a good bit. It's a good solid bit.
Good solid bit. Working on my tight 5.
It's my
So it's all about the tight 5, isn't it? If you can rock a tight 5, then you can do a set and you can go to your open mic nights.
That's right.
So I guess before we wrap this up, because we don't have any more topics, do we?
We have a couple more topics,
okay.
but we made a whole show just
We made
talking
a
about
whole-
the new #1. So I
we
mean,
made a
if
whole
you
show.
want a lightning round, the last couple topics we can.
Well, what were the last ones that we had?
First look at Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. Hey, a bland, boring actor is playing a bland, boring character. Awesome, great casting.
Yeah.
10 out
Yeah,
of 10.
I also
Who-
love
yeah.
that the first reveal for a Wonder Woman movie is a man.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah.
And also,
well, technically, we already saw her, but it is her own movie, and we have nothing new to show of her.
Can I just complain about how that Wonder Woman movie is going to be terrible?
It is.
But you
Like,
know
I
it's
promise
going to
you
be
it is.
that.
Because okay, first off, every time I say Gal Gadot doesn't look like Wonder Woman because she doesn't look beefy enough, everyone goes, yeah, but Gal Gadot was trained as such and such a thing. I don't care. I need to be able to look her down, and say, okay, she looks beefy enough to be Wonder Woman. She
right.
don't look it. Movies are a visual medium, and I shouldn't need to know about the fucking actress.
Oh man. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree. Like Gal Gadot, man. Like,
They'll special effects it. They'll make her look musclier.
dude, they need to do something. Like, no, what they need to do. Here's what they need to do. They need to bring her to like Kentucky and take her to like what's that donuts place? Spalding's Donuts, and be like, your job is to sit here for the next hour and a half and eat. Yeah,
No, what
and
they
eat
need
these
to do
donuts.
is take her head and put it on Xena Warrior Princess's body.
Man, that would have
yes.
been perfect back in the day. Lucy
Yeah.
lost. Like that's amazing
been.
casting that we never got. Like she might be able to play Hippolyta now. Like they might be able to get her to play like Wonder Woman's mom.
No, they want they want Nicole Kidman to play her mom.
Really?
Oh,
Evidently.
That's an odd choice.
Could you imagine them like parading out Lucy Lawless's old bones and just be like, you get to
She's
play
in the Evil
mother.
Dead show. She can
She
still
is.
act and kick ass and take names. She's still great.
I'm honestly thinking of making a video about Steve Trevor to be like, Steve Trevor is an incredibly boring character, and that's what makes him interesting. And I'll just run down every time that he fell flat on his face and
Yep.
contributed nothing to a situation.
Yeah, but didn't he like knock the boots with Wonder Woman for a while?
Yeah, I mean that's
Okay,
pretty
well,
good.
that's gonna be his
Like
character.
that's the thing that he did.
Yeah, and
I mean,
that's
that'll get you a couple of high fives, but I mean, do you think Vicky Vale and Lois Lane run around and be like, "Hey, but you know what I did though"?
Yeah,
No.
I totally banged Batman. Like,
But you know the cool thing though is that like Steve Trevor, like Chris Pine, I'm really hoping this happens at some point along the line, like in the Justice League movie, like Chris Pine and Superman meet each other, and they just like for a split second they just make eye contact and high five because both of them know that they are Eskimo brothers. Like, I'm hoping that happens at some point where they're just like,
Yeah.
and
There's
they
no
they call it a day. But
Best-
no, like, huh?
I was gonna say best version of Steve Trevor, and tell me if I'm wrong on this one, is the Justice League animated series 3-parter where they go back in time to World War II. Wonder Woman meets Steve Trevor, they connect, they have kind of like a sweet thing, and then she visits him in the old folks' home in the
Yes.
future. He's like on his deathbed.
yeah, that was some,
That's the best version they ever do. Or even Bombshells has a good version of him right now where he's
Yes.
like a shell-shocked soldier who's like, fallen
Yeah.
to pieces because of the horrible stuff he's seen, and Wonder Woman has to basically rehab him out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, those are two really good versions.
Yep.
So before we wrap this up, Jessica Jones.
Yes, we saw
Can't
some
wait.
clips of that. We saw Kilgrave. I can't believe it's going to be happening so soon. I can't
I
believe
know.
it's happening.
No,
3
3
days.
days.
I'm so hyped. Like, I know, Sal. Like, I know you're hyped, man, because you're all about Alias.
I love Alias. I love Jessica Jones. It's on Tiffany's birthday, so I guess like
Oh, really?
she'll have to do something else for her birthday.
Because I ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm
Spending
kidding.
time with my real lady, Jessica.
Well, the great thing is, like, it's not like I'm gonna miss an episode. I could just wait a day and I can watch them all. Like,
I'm gonna do
big
what I did with
Netflix.
Daredevil. I'm gonna wake up super early, go make some pancakes and some ham, and sit down.
Oh
and
my
make-
god, dude!
I'm
that
just
sounds like a
imagining-
day.
I'm just imagining Sal like dropping hints all day, like he gives Tiff a Jessica Jones shaped birthday cake.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend once named Jessica, and then I also had a friend named Jones, and you know, they
Yeah.
met each other, and like I was like, "Hey, what's going on, Jessica Jones?" Jessica Jones.
Yeah, it's something we should definitely watch right now. I mean, I don't have to twist her arm. She can't wait either. Like, she's like, this looks. Yeah.
Oh, I bet Tiffany would be a huge fan of Jessica Jones.
Oh, she's a huge.
How,
fan.
how scary is Tennant as the Purple Man? They showed a
Oh,
couple clips of
dude.
him
I'm
just
so
like
glad he's not
dating a couple-
purple.
Well, he seems that like they're gonna purple tint him in her freak out scenes. Like in her
Yes.
nightmare, she sees him as like some horrible purple monster. So I'm like, okay, fair enough.
And he has the
Well-
purple suit. That works. That's enough.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think they're gonna go with. Is they're just gonna call? I mean, one, like he'll just be called Kilgrave, but I think that people will say like all I remember is purple.
Yeah.
Like all I remember is that purple suit, and that's how people are gonna reference him. It's like well, do you? Because remember, like he puts out the pheromones, and people usually forget what it was that happened to him during that time. It's like, do you remember anything? Like
And
Jessica
I'm-
will be like, do you remember anything? And they'll be like, I remember
Yeah.
the color purple.
And I'm sure the terrified victims, the Purple Man, it was the Purple
Purple
Man
Man.
who did it. I saw a Purple Man.
I saw a purple man, but dude, okay, and I've been telling people for a while because people were like, oh my god, Daredevil, the scene where Kingpin like smashed the guy's head with a door, and I was like,
Right.
you ain't
You're-
seen nothing yet.
You
man.
really have.
wait until Jessica Jones like
In the first trailer, she puts a dude through the Alias investigation windows, which is like page 2 or 3
Well, no,
of
like-
Alias
like-
issue
yeah.
1.
I mean, not even that. Like there will be the one scene, like, and Sal knows what I'm talking about. The one scene where Purple Man has her in a room, and is like making her beg.
Yeah.
And I was like, if they, because Bendis is swearing up and down that the show is almost identical to the comic. So
Yeah.
if they show that, then it's gonna blow people's socks off
Oh.
because it's gonna be so twisted.
I
Do you
kind
think
of-
she's gonna fight the big handed assassin from the first arc? You think he's gonna be in it?
I hope so.
Big handed guy. I think so too. I think there's a clip in where she's fighting a dude in the elevator. I think it's that dude
Oh,
actually.
sweet.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I love the idea I love that they're taking an idea and they're not like glossing over points. Like,
Yeah.
the concept of mind control is while it took place in the Avengers movies, they don't really explore like how violating and horrible it is.
Yeah.
And in this show, they are, and they're like,
Yeah.
Luke Cage's character is like, "Are you talking about like, do you think mind control is actually real?" And it's like, dude, you got a Norse god coming to hang out with you. Yeah, mind control's real.
You have
But
bulletproof skin, dude.
yeah, but at the same time, that's like so cool to explore, and the idea of the underground Marvel universe existing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Have we talked about the idea that I can't wait to see if like where it's? I always want to see a one-off comic book moment for the first 2 minutes of a comic book movie. Like, I always wanted to see like a Spider-Man movie open with him defeating Ben Kingsley as the Vulture, and then being like, "Where do these guys come from?" Moving on. Like, I always want to see a scene where the Jessica Jones show comes out, it blows up, it's amazing. Then they open the new Avengers movie, right? Where it's the Avengers compound, and Kilgrave's in his best purple suit, and he walks through the door, and he's telling like Maria Hill and Nick Fury, like, jump off shit and whatever, and you're just like, and you're like, I watched the whole show. Kilgrave is unstoppable, and then Iron Man shows up, or War Machine, I guess, and Kilgrave's like, hey, use that armor and blow up this entire compound, and then Iron Man just punches him in the face. He's like, I got filters, man. I don't hear it through.
Your voodoo don't work on me.
Well, see,
Exactly.
that was the other cool thing too. Was in New Avengers that happened. Like
Yeah.
that's when you're talking about like when the Ratch gets blown up, and
Well, that was when he's
Purple
all
Man-
drugged up.
Yeah, that's when he's all drugged up. And Purple Man's like, he tells Luke Cage, he was like, kill everybody in this room. And he was like, when you were in here, you were drugged up and your powers don't work. And so like he beat the shit out of him.
Destroys him.
And he beat the
then
crap out of him.
Did you know they retconned that so that he did have his powers and he made Luke think that he beat the hell out of him, but he actually slipped away?
Really? that
that
sucks.
totally sucks.
That sucks because that was such a cool moment.
It's a great moment. And Cap's like, dude, you got to back off. I get it. Like, I'm with you. One punch too many, dude.
Yeah, you can't
One
kill this
punch
guy.
too many.
Here's what I'm hoping for, and here's something that I'm really wanting to see because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is all connected. I want to see the moment when Jessica Jones gets sent after Daredevil or something like that, and like she takes off and she attacks the Avengers. Like that's
penultimate
episode.
dude.
They're
I
not
really
gonna
want
do
to.
that.
I know
That would
they're
be
not,
amazing.
but that would be so cool where she attacks
If, like,
the Avengers. Dude.
Daredevil we're gonna see for sure. That's a foregone conclusion.
No
at
question,
this point.
Daredevil's in it.
If I had to put money on it, like penultimate episode, third to final episode.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like the second or third episode.
It's for like a minute. Like, it's not
I
gonna
think
be
like I see for some reason I just see it as all the Netflix shows will interact, and then in terms of Shield and the cinematic universe will interact, but there'll be very little crossover between the two.
Yes, I definitely
Yeah,
feel.
but
I
after
definitely
Civil
feel that's
War,
going
we'll
to
see.
happen. But I want it.
I mean, yeah,
Like, I
that's
want
all
more.
I like. I mean, that's all I want. I want to see like Jessica Jones chase after, like, just attack the event, like attack because Scarlet Witch is there, like attack the Scarlet Witch, and then
my
Thor
God.
just like pummels her, you know. And then I want to see her be like, I'm not going to be a superhero anymore because none of you knew that I was.
Amazing.
I mean, the only and okay, this is I was thinking about this the other day. Like sometimes I'll drive to the grocery store or something like that. And I'll just think of like these amazing moments that could happen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that never will. But wouldn't it be cool if, like, out of left field, like, no one knew that this had happened, but if out of left field, like, you know, whatever it is, Jessica Jones escapes from the Purple Man, whatever it is that happens, and she passes out, and she wakes up in the field, and Jean Grey is there. Like, dude, would that, like, not blow your mind? Like,
Oh, yeah.
they
Oh,
got
that
the
would
rights
be-
to the Fantastic Four.
That would blow my mind.
Well,
Dude, what a way to-
they've already had to move. They've already had to move certain stuff around. Like Carol
Yeah.
Danvers can't be her buddy anymore. Hellcat's her buddy now.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I want to see Patsy Walker actually get a fair shake.
Yeah. Well,
the
she's getting a
thing-
book off the back of it now. That's a pretty fair
The
shake.
thing that I
Wouldn't
really
it be-
want. Oh, God.
I was just going to say, wouldn't it be great if instead of getting the rights back to the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, Marvel just made new characters that were called like Shmeen Shmay and got Schmammers?
Yeah.
That had the exact
Good
same
old
powers.
Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. The Smex-Men.
I also really,
X-Men.
I really want to see Coulson go to Hell's Kitchen
That
and
would be
like
awesome.
just look at Nelson and Murdoch and then look around the neighborhood and go, nah, and then just get back in the car and leave. Like this
Be like,
place,
this place
is
is
dark.
dirty.
This is really not my scene.
Yeah, no, that I mean,
Like
but-
I like that is the fact that there's no Coulson or like Matt Murdock lawyer in either show. I get that like they probably can't do it, but it's all Disney. Whatever, you own it. The fact is, Castle could show up on Agents of Shield. Like that's how incestual Disney is. You could just do that, but like I want to see more crossover.
yeah.
I want to see more Marvel in my Marvel.
Maybe if
like
they
I
go
said,
back,
I mean,
back to doing those short films they used to do on the DVDs,
I want
I imagine.
those. Yes.
that was
Like
cool.
another
Like,
All Hail the King or a funny
Dude,
thing
yeah.
happened on the way
Those-
to Thor's
I
those
End.
still
one-shots?
haven't seen All Hail the King because I don't own Thor: The Dark World, and I
Oh,
can't
it's
get a
cool.
copy of it
It's
anywhere.
the best one. It's
It
the best
is.
one.
It's the best. I hear Justin Hammer's in it, and I'm like, ah!
He is.
That's my
Oh,
favorite
dude,
character.
He steals that whole thing, Justin Hammer,
well, see, that was when people knew that Luke Cage was going to show up.
because that's
Because that's the prison, the Seagate prison is where he gets sent to, and dude, yeah, no, I'm not even gonna spoil it. You need to go watch All Hail the King.
I do,
You,
I
you can
really
you can
get
find
it.
it on YouTube. I'm pretty sure.
I looked. It's not there.
Oh really?
I can't
That
even
sucks.
watch like the usual ones. Like the funny thing happened on the way to Thor's hammer.
Oh well, that's
You know what's a
They're
cool thing
great
about
now.
that Seagate prison and its connection to Ant-Man? Some of the criminals in there have the same prison tattoos as Louise has in
No
Ant-Man.
way!
So it's like,
Really?
dude, did Louise do time in Seagate? Does Louise know Luke Cage?
yeah, but dude,
Louise
like,
is Hydra.
dude, wouldn't that be an awesome drop? Like, yeah, man, when I was in prison, like there was this guy I knew that would just like beat the crap out of people.
His
And
name
then-
was Luke, and he was awesome.
Yeah. And then like they took
Yeah.
him off for some experiment, and then he's like, oh my god, Luke Cage.
Yeah, he swore he was innocent, and he beat the hell out of people.
But dude, no, I'm with Sal on this. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily want to see like Avengers constantly, like, you know, different characters
No, I don't wanna see
crossing
it
over all the time,
over-
but like
yeah.
mentions, like discussions, like the you know the thing with Luis and Luke Cage, you know, where somebody like, you know, I knew a guy
Yeah.
who was in, you know, so, like a really good example is Heroes Reborn. Like there's a scene where Noah Bennett is talking to the brother of the girl that can control darkness, whatever the hell his name is, and he was like, I knew a guy that stole the powers of other people, obviously referencing Sylar, but it was just a great nod, a great mention to the original series. You know, that's what I like.
You know what they
So
should
is
do?
it a bit
Because-
like Is it a bit like how when they made the Runaways and they were really trying to push the Runaways in so many comics, you heard a mention of those kids in LA?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
You know what a great thing would do? I say, because obviously they've gotten a lot of good ideas from taking the comic format, what with the shared universe and everything. A cool idea would be maybe the next time there's a big movie event, like when Civil War happens, you get a special Daredevil tie-in one-shot Netflix special where it's just Matt Murdock dealing with the fallout of that movie, much in the same way S.H.I.E.L.D. gets really awesome when they deal with the fallout of a movie.
Agreed.
Wouldn't that be something? Just an idea.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would cost a lot of money, and you'd have to get the actors back for just a special one-shot. But I mean,
But dude, it would definitely
You just have one of the actors show up to the set of the movie.
But like,
or that.
I think like kind of as bad as it sounds, I think like that is your commitment if you're going to become an actor for a superhero. You're not just playing a character, then you're playing a legacy. So you need to sort of. There should be.
Sadly,
sort of
not everyone's Nick Cage who's willing, or not Nick, friggin' Sam Jackson who's willing to show up for everything. You know.
Right.
Well, I mean,
Or,
you need Fury. You need Fury here. Okay, I'll show up.
yeah, does Fury need to be in Daredevil? Yes, he needs to be in Daredevil. Why aren't you in Daredevil?
And Sam Jackson would do it too. Sam Jackson would drop everything to come and do
He would
it.
be, and he would actually be true to form Sam Jackson. Then he'd be like, "Yeah, let's kill some people."
Oh yeah.
And he could actually probably say,
His famous catchphrase.
His famous catchphrase that I remember: Benny likes to keep this show clean, so I stop myself.
Exactly.
But no, like the cool thing to me is like something I wouldn't mind seeing because I don't know exactly when it is that Jessica Jones takes place. If it's around like when it, or at least when it starts, because assuming that they follow the comic, they'll go into her origin story when she was younger, the family, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I wouldn't mind
And the
seeing
fact
a moment.
that Luke Cage doesn't look to have powers when he's meeting her for the first time, which is
Boy, I
interesting.
hope he has powers.
Actually,
I hope he's just
I think
keeping
he
it.
does.
I hope
think
he's keeping it a secret.
Exactly. Like, well, I think there's a scene. If you guys remember in the trailer, there's a scene where he confronts her about how she threw a guy across the bar with one hand.
Yeah.
And so I think she's going to reveal like and he's going to be like, I have super strength and bulletproof
or he's
skin.
going to disappear halfway through the first season and be like, oh man, he got taken to prison though. I hope they don't experiment on him when he's in prison.
Hope he isn't a cool superhero that has his own show in the next season.
Oh wait, I just remembered. I'm more excited for Jessica Jones now because Jessica Jones was really really close with Cassie Lang, and so it was like when Cassie became Stature, it was actually Jessica that goes to. I'm really excited because it means Young Avengers could actually happen now that Jessica Jones is happening.
Hey, they got that little kid actress from Ant-Man, and she is cool. If she sticks with it, doesn't do regular Hollywood stuff, she could be Stature one day.
Yeah, she doesn't go deep.
They need to hurry it up a bit so I can play Wiccan because I'm not going to look like this forever.
Like that's the carrot they dangle in front of the kids. Hey, if you do good in school, eat your green vegetables and drink your milk, one day you can be in the Young Avengers, and it'll be a great continuity payoff.
Yeah, one day you could be like a shape-shifting character that will like turn the tide of Civil War.
Yeah.
I like they took Cassie's powers away in the comics when Darren Cross took her heart, but now I read the new solicitation and it looks like she's going to be Stature again.
Yay, good.
Which I'm happy about because in the Young Avengers, she distanced herself from being Ant-Man's daughter, and as soon as she came back to life, she was just Ant-Man's daughter again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm curious to see where they go with the whole Jessica Jones thing because I mean, like I said, as far as Bendis has said, it's extremely close to the comic, and the comic was written so well. I mean, it's really so easy to follow through with the whole comic series. I mean, you can just it's.
I like in the lead up to Jessica Jones. So many fans are like, hey Joel, what important Jessica Jones story should I read? And I'm like, you mean story? You mean story? You mean Alias? I'm like, just read Alias.
The one she was in.
Yeah.
I'm like, only Alias is about
Avengers
her. And then it's just a bunch of bit appearances after that.
Yeah,
she's a main character in New Avengers in as much as she has Luke Cage's daughter and complains the entire run.
And also, like, Wolverine and Squirrel Girl fight.
Yeah.
That's
which is cool. Like,
And then
cool.
and Squirrel Girl hides in one issue. That was interesting.
Apparently, All Hail the King is on Vimeo. But anyway, so yeah, like I'm interested. Like I'm really. And like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing a moment in the show where like Tony Stark reveals his identity in Iron Man 1, or something like that, or like if she discovers the identity of Captain America, because as far as I know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is still following the trend of no one knows who Captain America is except for the Avengers. No one knows he's Steve Rogers, and so
Kyle just reminded me. There's also the Pulse. Forgot about the Pulse.
No one counts the pulse. No one counts the pulse.
Steve Rogers doesn't do a great job hiding his secret identity all that much. I mean, he goes to the museum dedicated to himself and looks at himself and goes, "Man, I was pretty cool back then, wasn't I?"
Well, see, all right. So for those of you guys who are talking about are talking about the pulse, like, see you misunderstand. What had happened was Bendis wrote Alias, and then Marvel was kicking around the idea of writing a series called The Pulse, but that didn't come to fruition. Instead, what they did is they rolled her over, and then she was just in the new Avengers. So there's nothing called The Pulse. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
That was the Pulse exists so that Bendis could write about 616 Spider-Man, and there's a couple of scenes in there like Ben Urich and Spider-Man, and I like that scene where like Ben Urich is like, Norman Osborn ruined my life. He lied and he made me lose my fortune. He goes, yeah, and you remember that time that he took my girlfriend and he killed her?
Do you remember that? I remember that.
Pepperidge Farms remembers that.
Yeah, I was like, that's amazing. He's like, yeah, and this one time he took my girlfriend, threw her off a bridge, and killed her in front of me. I'm like, right on, holy crap, Spidey, keep it together, pal. Like, wow.
You know, I just think about it every night when I go to sleep, you know, and every morning when I wake up.
And I live in the Triborough area, man. Like, I see that bridge all the time.
Wow. That's got to be distressing.
Right? It's
by that
pressing all this,
To be fair, with all the crap that happens to Peter Parker, you'd think he'd get over at least one thing.
Right?
Yeah, dude, that guy holds on to stuff forever. You know, he's like the Punisher. Like, I'm dedicating my entire life to acting on a single event. Now, in Punisher's defense, his family was murdered, so I guess I can kind of grant him that. You know, but
yeah, but Peter Parker lost his child that didn't exist. I mean,
God, yeah.
Yeah, his wife miscarried. His aunt's husband or boyfriend died.
Yeah, but remember, he also like punched Mary Jane in the face.
He did, right across the face.
Right across the
closed fist. in a strange lab. Right after he was revealed to be a clone.
Yeah, you freaked.
So don't forget that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you do well to remember that moment because it was really important and everyone wants to remind us of it.
Peter Parker has had his struggles. Like the struggle is real.
He's had some dark days.
He's had some
and meanwhile, Hank Pym's like, why does everyone obsess over me hitting my wife?
Oh, okay, that's something I never understood. Like that's something that I never got. Is people were like, you know, yeah, man, like comics have had some like dark moments, but like Hank Pym hit his wife. Yeah, well, you know what? Reed like hit his wife once, even though she was malice. It doesn't matter. He still hit his wife once.
Years worth of emotional abuse that he poured on her. But you know what? Reed Richards did other stuff that people remember. Hank Pym, up until the movie, no one knew who he was except for being that ant guy who hit his wife.
Dude, I made a video called like, why did Hank Pym hit his wife?
I remember you did that. I remember that. I'm like, well, there's a title that I'm just going to have to watch then.
Yeah. Now I just want to make a video called Why Did Scott Summers Kill His Girlfriend?
That's a great video.
That's a great video. But anyway, guys, so we're going to wrap this episode up. I think we've been going on for about an hour. Actually, about an hour and 30 minutes right now. So, yeah. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. But any final thoughts? Anybody have anything coming out this week they want to throw out there?
Oh man, go for it, guys. Let's hear it.
As always,
I'm doing a history of Cassie Lang. If you're really into the Ant-Man movie.
Awesome.
It's good timing too. I'm doing, of course, weekly reviews over on Cape Joel. I got my new thing, The Rack Attack, now, where I talk about books every week. Some I've reviewed professionally, some I haven't. People really seem to be enjoying it. Go figure, right? A comic book guy talks about comics on his channel, and people like it, right?
Crazy, man.
Who would have thunk it? Who'd even have thunk it?
Well, tomorrow's Wednesday, so we got another Off the Rack, and then Thursday, back issues, and it's episode 90, which means we have to do a crisis. Every 10 episodes, we do a crisis. So we started with Infinite Crisis, or Identity Crisis, and then Infinite Crisis. Now we're going to do Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Well, that's going to be cool.
That's going to be an epic.
That is going to be an epic one.
It is very. It is. It's a little longer than usual, and yeah. Oh my god.
Oh my god, they killed Supergirl with her friggin' Rambo bandana.
I remember as a kid being like, who cares?
Oh, it was a huge moment because, you know.
Yeah.
Because
she died.
Because it was Supergirl. I guess.
Because it's
they
that
made-
amazing image of Superman holding the dead Supergirl, and that's like the end of an era.
Yeah, and I remember that being. I remember seeing that, and I remember that image too. I liked it a lot when it was in an X-Men book.
And then
It's literally
they
the same
made,
cover.
and then they made Matrix, and then they made Matrix, and that happened. And then they made Linda Danvers, who is the
That's
best
right.
Supergirl.
Do you know
And-
what? Okay, you know what? Let's not end the podcast. So here's the thing. Here's the thing about Linda Danvers and Matrix. Like, it was ridiculous. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I was trying to wrap my head around that. I was like, okay, so Kara Zor-El's dead. Like, she's gone. Marv Wolfman was like, you know what? Let's just kill her because we want to make Superman back to him just being the last. Yeah, back to the last son of Krypton.
That's
so.
right.
Instead, what we're going to do is we need a Supergirl because there are fans that like Supergirl. So let's,
Because money is to be made.
yeah, because money's to be made. So let's take like a shape-shifting robot, basically, from another like dimension,
Yes.
an evil, like a good version of Lex Luthor, where Superman
Yes.
died as a kid, and let's bring them into this reality,
Si, senor.
and then it can be Supergirl.
Yep.
And then it's going to be Supergirl for a while, but it's going to be called Matrix, so it's not really
Yep,
Supergirl,
yep.
but it's going to be Supergirl for a while.
Right.
And then it's going to come across like a blonde girl and be like, you know what, you look like an awesome person to pair up with. So it's just going to like merge with that person.
And then becomes like a weird fire angel.
Yeah, like a
thing.
fire angel thing that literally gets sent to hell in order to kill her off.
And then the creator still kind of writes about that character in his creator-owned series is the thing, but he's not allowed to make reference to it. But it's clear that that's
But
who it
it's
is.
clear that's who it is. And then they bring back Kara Zor-El to be Supergirl.
Yes.
And she's
Yeah.
like the
this-
90s cartoon.
in the same series, because don't forget, Linda Danvers was the only character, or one of only a few characters, to time travel back to the pre-Crisis universe, swapped places with Kara.
That's right, she
That's
did.
right. Yeah,
It-
DC, thank you for making things make sense. Like,
And
that's,
wasn't
I mean,
there also a
clearly that's-
Supergirl who was like Lois and Superman's daughter from the future who no one ever mentions, and she gets left out of all those conversations?
And don't forget, Supergirl 1 Million was Linda's daughter, and she literally made explosions turn into hearts. Like,
See, I'm glad
So she's
DC.
an 80s female cartoon character.
I'm glad DC took the time to use Crisis on Infinite Earths and Infinite
clean up.
Crisis and Zero Hour Crisis in Time and Final
Convergence.
Crisis and Convergence to clear up all those continuity errors that were clearly plaguing their comic books.
Oh yeah,
Especially-
no. Now
But the-
now it's so much easier to follow.
Oh yeah, because you have Superman with no powers over here, but then you have like
Superman with powers.
over here, and then people
Yeah.
are asking me, "Hey Rob, when does like Darkseid War take place?" Well, you know what? Like
I don't know.
you just guess.
You also have Superman, who everyone said was the same Superman in post-Crisis as New 52, but then they said no, post-Flash or pre-Flashpoint Superman actually is set to
living.
die, and he lives here now, and so he's
Doing
the
his own thing.
He's the fuddy-duddy Earth 2 Superman version, like allegory.
Which,
All
not
you
to be
do is
confused
be
with
grumpy.
actual Earth 2 Superman, who did exist but then was killed and has now been replaced by a new guy who's calling himself Superman,
Yep.
but, is different.
Also,
he's
don't forget, guys. Don't forget, we also had Forever Evil, where we saw like Earth 3 Superman,
Ultraman, yeah.
Ultraman. So
Love
you know, I
Ultraman.
mean,
don't forget, there's Earth 11, the gender bent universe,
Oh, of course,
Gender
with
Bent
Superwoman.
Universe.
Yes.
where it's
fun
Superwoman and
universe.
Super Lad. Super
Yeah,
Lad is,
Super Lad, who's Supergirl. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and then there used to be Wonder Man, who was an overweight superhero, and then they made him actually attractive for some reason in the New 52.
And
Right.
and also let's keep in the back of our heads that Convergence got rid of all the continuity stuff and said now it all just exists.
Right, and,
And so
also
it all
undid Crisis on Infinite Earths entirely.
Yeah.
So all the stuff we're talking about never even happened. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But then in October,
But
there
buy
were
old trades, please.
DC books in the top 10 best-selling comics, and now DC are like, oh crap. And so we're getting continuity back.
Right.
So,
Thank God.
Yeah, guys.
COC, man. Creativity over continuity.
See,
COC.
guys, like DC
See?
is extremely easy to follow.
Yeah, and there's no problems at all.
You just have to
Yeah.
devote your entire life into reading and researching and catalog and having conversations with people like us to really understand. all.
That's
That's right.
why that's why they have scholars that dedicate their lives to DC Comics called comic book fans.
and that's
or if you don't want to do all that, you could just like and subscribe to all of our
one of
channels.
our many great. Yeah.
And I'll do the best I can to make the nonsensical issue of Convergence make as much sense that I can. Just understand, guys, there are some things that will never make sense. No one will ever understand. Like, there are some things that DC did. Not even DC understands why it was done. It was just done.
They just did it.
They just did it.
Like multiversity.
No.
Oh god! Somebody asked me about that. Like, so how does multiversity tie in? And I was like, shh.
It does not.
It's a beautiful acid trip, is what it is.
Yeah.
Just take the ride, man. Just take it.
I always tell people, you know that event, Final Crisis? Go back to then and place it around there, and then it makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's weird. But anyway, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go and see. That's why I like Marvel, because even if you can sit down and look at Secret Wars and say, no, because I want to get this off my chest. Even if you can sit down and look at Secret Wars and say, well, Secret Wars was all for naught, like nothing was rebooted,
ultimately.
it was a waste of time. At the end of the day, it was still a really cool event. Like, it is.
It was
still
a cool
really
story,
event.
and it will read
Right.
well in trade.
And Marvel's had no reboots. So when people say, hey, I want to start with all new, all different Amazing Spider-Man, what do I read? Superior
That.
Spider-Man Forward.
Read
Done.
10 years worth of Dan Slott is what you need to read.
it.
And there
Yeah.
you go.
See, whenever someone
No,
tells
it's
me, where do
really-
I start with Marvel? I say, you go to Marvel's website, you get a Marvel Unlimited subscription, and then
Yes.
you read whatever looks cool.
You click
That's
on the
funny.
character. You click on the character's name, and then it tells you
Because
everything you need.
new fans become old fans very quickly, and if you
Right.
care, you will go back and you will read the old stuff for context, and if you don't, then it wasn't important anyway, and that's fine. Or if you listen to one of our shows and we say a weird thing, it's like, well, dude, I gotta check out that weird thing. You'll go and you'll check out that weird thing, and you'll be like, oh, now I have a better understanding.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Although people always ask me, where do I start with the Teen Titans? I'm like, read the
Don't.
old stuff.
Just don't.
Yeah, just don't. Usually, just don't.
Yeah,
Because it will only end in disappointment for you.
it's true. You don't want to
All
break
right.
Faust's heart, don't.
No, it will end in disappointment. If this is how the Teen Titans is going to end, it's just disappointment.
It's true.
Every time Faust talks about the Teen Titans and just talks about how bad they are now, like, I keep thinking of that Aerosmith song. Like, you know, I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep because I miss you, babe.
want to miss a thing.
Don't want to miss a thing.
Ugh. That song defined my high school career.
Dude, no, the song that like that that's been burned into my head that I'll never forget is a Celine Dion song from Titanic.
Oh,
My heart will go on.
Oh my god,
For
man.
me, it's The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
That was
Showing
a
your
cool song.
age, Faust. Showing your age.
God, yeah,
right
young,
there.
I will say
man.
that song does rock, but yeah, that was after my time.
See, like, I have a younger sister. Well, I have an older sister too, but she doesn't count. I have a younger sister. And, well, at least she doesn't count for this example.
Exactly.
So when I was young, like, her room was constantly exploding with the sounds of Backstreet Boys and
They're back,
NSYNC.
all right.
Yeah, like 98 Degrees. Like, it was just like, oh my god.
See,
Like, it was nuts.
when I was growing up, because I was a baby gay, my room was constantly blasting with the sound of Madonna and Kylie Minogue.
That's awesome.
Madonna had like a couple cool songs, like one.
A couple. She had a career of great songs.
No, she
For
had
real.
she had a career of songs. She did not have a career of great
She
songs.
had a career of great songs, and then she became the child snatcher.
I forgot about that. Just driving around, snatch up.
Okay, for real and for true.
Snatch
We
the
got to
children
bounce
up.
off here because I got to get to a UK basketball game. So
I got
we're gonna bring this podcast to an end, guys. But I have all new, all different Deadpool coming up tomorrow, which I need to finish the script tonight and record it tomorrow, get it uploaded tomorrow, and then after that, probably a few more stories, and then I'm gonna take off Friday and Saturday and watch Jessica Jones. But if you guys are interested in joining me, I'll be periscoping throughout my experience watching Jessica Jones, and I'll probably post some reviews on Rob Explains.
Jessica Jones, man.
So you're not streaming the whole thing this time?
Dude, no. There's
too
a
bad.
reason why those Daredevil videos are
You're not
unlisted
going
at
to
the
tag
moment.
me in for 15 minutes there?
No, there's a reason why I made those Daredevil videos unlisted. Because I went back and watched them, and I was like,
I'm glad I got to be there for that event. I'm glad I got to hang out for that
It was-
event.
it was an experience.
I'm glad I caused that
it
whole
was
thing.
it was an
That
experience.
Yeah.
You know, everything should be tried. You know, once
Yes,
or twice
you know
within
what?
reason.
You can't
so.
blame Rob. He's you're not afraid. You're unafraid. You're
I'm
a
a-
I
I'm
said it.
adventurous.
I said it so sarcastically, not expecting anyone to do it, and then you said you were doing it, and I was like, I can't stop him
Oh
now.
no.
No.
Wait.
Oh no, there's no stopping. There's
It's
no
too late. You
stopping.
got to go back. Got to go back in the time machine.
That's right.
But anyway, guys, so that's what I have going on, and yeah. So and also, man, I think this week I might do I might postpone Injustice till next week, and this week I want to do that Superman American Alien story. Like
Good
that first
story.
issue, because that sounds cool.
It's a good read. It's a good
Very
read.
great.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna. I guess we're gonna bounce off here. We're gonna bring the podcast
Yeah,
to an end.
let's
Awesome.
end the show.
Yeah, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace.